Thank you very much. And thank you to Caroline for all the work that she did that I can pick up on. So, as I said, CEO now of Surrey FA. I'm also a non-exec for Triathlon, the national governing body. And we're an award-winning national governing body for our work in women's sport. I'm privileged that I've been able to work on some fantastic major sports events, so Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, FIFA World Cup, and work with some fantastic football brands, including Nike, Juventus and AC Milan. So I've got, hopefully, quite a bit of experience in football that I can bring to Surrey. So we are one of 50 county FAs around the country. We are part-funded by the FA, and the core areas of our work are develop grassroots football for everyone. So it's about growing participation, it's about increasing and improving participation around better training facilities, and playing facilities. That's new 3G pitches. We want to develop the football workforce, so that's you, the coaches, the referees, and even our team at Surrey FA, and delivering compelling events, including our 25 county cup tournaments. So part of my job now is to deliver sustainable revenue so we can do all of those things. So that includes commercial revenue, sponsorships, donations, and grant funding. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history because it's always nice to know where we've come from. So not many people know that in 1920, 53,000 people watched the women's team for Dick Kerr's. But then in 1921, the FA decided that they would ban women's football from playing on FA pitches, so which eventually really took the game not very far at all. And it's a little bit like saying to the England men's team, well, why don't you all go and get full-time jobs, and you can train twice a week after work, and by the way, we might put the lights on or we might not. So it's not a surprise, really, that women's football takes a little bit of a while to bring it forward and bring it up again. So here we are 100 years later, and now women's football is really growing and it's booming. So this is the FA's participation, to double participation, to double the number of fans, and consistent success on the world stage. So I think we're doing pretty well at that. So if I'm looking at what the Lionesses are doing, they're currently 6th in the world. They've got to the FIFA World Cup semi-finals. And here we are again with record crowds for 77,000 England versus Germany. And just to put the 11.7 million into perspective, that was the highest viewing figures for any event on that year, television anywhere. So that's bigger than EastEnders and Line of Duty. So as I said, women's football is booming. The Super League now is growing in stature week in, week out. It's a pro league now. It's free to stream on the FA Player. And it's not just about the England Lionesses. You can see there that Arsenal versus Tottenham got 31,000. But it's also bringing in, because it's got participation, because it's got media, you're now looking at Barclays and big sponsors bringing in huge amounts of money into the game. The other thing that's quite interesting is now you're also seeing it's not just the men that are part of all the commercials, the women are in there as well, if you have a look at the Deliveroo ad. And that's how it should be. Oops, sorry. So, building on that theme of actually major events or inspiring female players, we've got Tokyo coming up, we've got the Euro 21s, and just look at the list of major stadium there, starting off at Old Trafford and finishing at Wembley. So when you look at the number of registered players through the FA, it's growing at 10%, and that's 2.7 million players now. There's still more work to do in developing women's football as opposed to men's football. So when I'm having a look at Surrey FA, at the top there, you've got registered players. So that's 56,000 currently. We're 4,500 female registered players. So whilst it's growing tremendously well, most sports would be really pleased to be growing at 20%, but we've still got a long way to go. So if we double the number of players, female players, every year for the next 3.5 years, we'll be equal. And that's what I'm hoping to do. Similarly, really, for teams and then for referees, there's a lot of work to do still in bringing more referees and then more female coaches into the game. But that also starts at the very top with changing the dynamics of our board. So 20% of our board are female. So there's a lot of opportunities to play football and leverage on those major events that we see. Starting off at the 5 to 11-year-olds and the Wildcats, we've now got 60 centres across Surrey. There are opportunities to then move through into the Women and Girls Leagues, County Cup competitions, moving into recreational football, and then onto the senior teams, women's teams like you've seen today from Fulham and Chelsea, Mole Valley, up there, for example. So we're doing a lot of work in terms of taking women's football out into the community, and you'll see an image up there where we went into a prison. We were holding an event last week to help clubs understand what you need to do for women's football and to bring women into the game. So whistle-stop, real big whistle-stop tour of what's happening in the women's game, both from a national level but also on to a local Surrey level. But I think for everyone in this room today, it also gives there are great opportunities to work in the sport. I've had a fantastic career working in various different areas of the sport, whether it's TV, whether it's marketing, whether it's major events. So for all of you, I think, again, some of the advice that was given earlier, there's great opportunities to work in a sport environment, whether it's at a county level, whether it's at club level, whether it's a local level, and get your foot in the door and start doing some of that volunteering. We're looking for more female coaches. Last week we had a level 1 coaching event at our centre at Meadowbank, 24 women in the room. It was oversubscribed, and 90% of them said that they wanted to go on to do level 2, and that's even before they finished the whole of level 1. So the other area, obviously, is around refereeing. It's a great opportunity to take those transferable skills around discipline and communication, and again, that's something that we need to recruit more referees into the game. And also, it's about having a volunteer workforce. So there's not just opportunities both for coaching and for refereeing. It's about getting the foot in the door at the club level. Because whilst I can, as the CEO, I can get a lot more women into the game, my responsibility is to make sure the infrastructure is there so that they can have a great experience every time they come in, at whatever level that they come into the sport. So the other part of all of this is equally not just about women working in women's football, it's also about men supporting and embracing the women's game too. So if you're interested in having a career at Surrey FA, come and talk to us. And talk to some of our clubs where you can actually make a difference to sport. We're all very lucky that we work in sport. We change people's lives on a daily basis. So take the opportunities where you can and have a great career in sport. Thank you.